Now, moving on to one of our early season classics in this country, for the March Brown. I also tie a slightly paler version for the Mayfly. And this is a fly called the Jingler. This time I've gone for an SLD, so not quite as heavy as the Mayfly that we tied earlier, but this is still a size 10, but quite often I'll tie these on a 12 and a 14. But I'll start the thread turns here. Take it back. I've gone back to the black Nano silk this time. And we'll just nip out the excess. Find my trusty Coq de Leon feather, and I'm going to take 4 or 5 fibres as before, roughly the length of the body, loop and drop it down. So that's tied in there. And let's take that back. For this particular fly being a March Brown, I'm going to go with this quite helpfully named March Brown Superfine dubbing. As with all of them, start with this really fine bit at the top, get that started on the hook and pushed up close, and one turn, it's all it takes, and you can actually just start tightening up from this lower part and it will tighten up all of the rest for you, and it will give you that nice taper then. So going forward, just allowing that dubbing to start building up a nice taper going forward. Perfect. So that's your dub body and tail, all very quickly put together. There's no need to worry too much about that. And now we're going to tie in the second hackle first, which is always a bit of a bizarre idea, and for that we have an English partridge skin. You can use French partridge or chucker if you're in the States, but you don't have that nice barring effect that you have on the feather, on the English partridge feather. And you want to select the feather that's got a nice drape to it, from the neck region of the bird just here, and that will give you a nice length of feather on both sides of the fibre. So we want one. It's going to be roughly the body length, which is what we've got there. You'll see with a partridge feather it's almost circular in shape, so you have to be able to, you have to prepare it slightly differently. Still get rid of these fluffy fibres down at the bottom. Rubbish for what we're doing. That's gone. But we want to tie this in tip first. So we brush his fibres back, and the nice thing with partridge and a lot of our game birds, unlike chicken, is the fibres have a webbing to them, so they're naturally adhesive to each other, like a Velcro. So if you brush them back, they'll hold that way. So to prepare a feather, that's perfectly set. And we rotate it round, so the stem of the feather's sweeping up, and the bottom of the feather is actually facing forward, and the tip is facing back. And we take that area that we've prepared and put it almost right by the eye of the hook. So we'll let us do it. Always a bit fiddly. Trap that in and wind back and cut the tip out. Now we're going to add the tie in the second feather, but the one that we'll be tying in first. And for that, I'm actually going to use red game in this instance, but lots of different hackles you can use. I'm rather running out of my favourite sizings in this particular cape, but there we go. So we want this a bit shy of, a bit short of the length of the body. This is just going to be a nice leggy type hackle that sits in its just acting as the legs and some of the wing, and like all the others, prepare it by removing these bottom fibres of the hackle and tying it in, tip facing backwards, underside of the hackle facing down, and trap that in. Nice strong locking turns. Use your scissor nib just to use it out and nip it out there. And then really it's personal preference at this point whether you add a thorax dub. On the larger sizes I definitely do. I just think the hackle will always sit better on dubbing than it does on thread. So just got some of that black squirrel dub from it earlier, and rotate it through. Try not to go too far forward because you need to make sure you can finish with that second hackle. Clip in your hackle pliers. Make sure that the second hackle sits out the way, and begin your hackle turns. Make sure that they're all neatly facing backwards and that your hackle rotations are going forwards. So 3.5 there, and take the thread up through once more, and twice in front, and go in with the scissors and nip that out. Now we're going to use our thumb just to edge that second hackle back, that partridge hackle, and now's time to grab hold of it. Make sure those fibres are wonderfully draping backwards, and you'll go down all the way round, and then all the way round again until you're back up to the top, and then take your thread through once, twice, stroke everything back, and take a couple of turns in front to make sure that again is locked in place. Trim that out, and then in with your tidying turns, the great thing with that is it adds this barring effect to the wing, and when you see this fly on the water it looks so natural, and it's such an effective pattern for the march ground, but also for many other flies if you can tie them in the correct size. Really is a great general purpose upwing imitation. Trap any fibres in there, and there we are, double whip finish. Side that out, and if you caught any fibres, just trim that out the way, and there you have it, the March Brown Jingler, a great early season pattern in the UK, but well worth having in the box for other parts of the world.